Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mind of Matter YouTube channel. This is our 2024 Kia EV9 Land with all-wheel drive and extended range battery. We just got it and it's new to us, so we're going to take it on a road trip because why not? We're going to head from Chicago all the way down due south to the Gulf of Mexico, specifically to Dauphin Island, Alabama. We've been here before. If you check out my old videos or check out the description, you'll see a link for our previous road trip in our 2022 Ford Lightning extended range EV. This time we're taking the Kia, and this car is not eligible for Tesla Supercharging. So we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way with no Tesla Supercharging and only using the CCS networks like Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, and so on. Curious to see how this goes. I'm a little nervous because this is spring break 2025. There's a lot more EVs on the road than there were last year, and now we can only use CCS charging. We can't use Tesla Supercharging like we do with the Lightning. So I'm a little nervous. We're going to get to
point I've ever come across. I just opened up the ChargePoint app on my phone.
Stations, broken charging stations, what have you. I almost decided to take the Lightning on this trip, but I really wanted to try the Kia, so we're going to try the Kia and see how it goes. So join us on this journey as we discover what it was like to charge before Tesla and see how the state of CCS charging is in the Midwestern Mississippi corridor.
Well, it's finally time to set off. We've got a whopping 316 miles on the trip calculator, which is surprising to me because that seems like way too much. But I won't complain about that, even though we're at 100%. I was expecting 270. So I'm going to try going to Dauphin Island, Alabama. Dauphin Island, Alabama on the map.
All right, Dauphin
and
Island.
Let's see what it's going to route us. 13 hours, 33 minutes. This is Google Maps as part of Android Auto on the Kia. It's not Smart Route Planner. So we got to add in charging there. But there's generally where we're headed over the next 12 hours or so. Stay tuned for more charging stops along the way. All right, we made it to a beautiful Walmart charging location. There's 8 charging stations here, which is fantastic. Looks like 2 of them are 350, which is good enough. One of them's taken, and that's fine. Although I doubt that Polestar can charge at 350 or anything above 150, but whatever. And we got our own 350 for our Kia EV9, and now we're gonna see it ramp up. I did precondition the battery manually, which you can do in these EV9s, which is awesome. I started the preconditioning process around 30 minutes ago before charge, and it had turned off before we got here. So maybe it took around 25 minutes to precondition at around 42 degrees, 44 degrees Fahrenheit here in Indiana in March. Let's see it ramp up, and we'll see what kind of charging speed we get. This car is a fantastic road tripper so far. We've been very happy with it. Very comfortable, very quiet, fantastic self-driving capabilities, and the Hyundai driving assist works really well. They really thought this car out. I say the same thing about my Lightning, also true for the Lightning, but they really figured this car out. So credit to Hyundai and Kia for putting this together. Looks like we're hovering around 166. No, it's still climbing. Weird. I've read this before. I forget the nickname for it online, but they say that the battery on Hyundais and Kias will ramp up and then steady state and then ramp up and then steady state and then ramp up and steady state. Wow, this is great. 196. Let's see if that's the ceiling or if it's going to ramp up again like we just talked about. Also worth noting, we left Chicago in about 40-degree weather and made it to the south side of Indianapolis at this EA station with still 20% battery to go with preconditioning. So pretty good range. I'm used to the Lightning and other cars where you put in the destination on the highway, and the range goes from 320 miles, for example, on the Lightning, down to something like 250 because you're driving on the highway in cold temperatures. This car, I was expecting a 270 mile EPA range, and therefore when I put in a highway destination at low temperatures, I expected it to drop to, I don't know, say 220, 230 or something like that. But the range when we left showed like, gosh, what was it, like 316 or something like that? Actually higher than the EPA rating. So I think Hyundai purposely sandbags the range rating, and this car essentially gets similar range to the Lightning, which is amazing. And we got about 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and we were driving for a little over 2.5 hours. So looks like we're hovering right around 200 kilowatts, which is fantastic. Very happy to see that. I'm used to a peak of 180, 185, 190 in the Lightning, and we're already above that peak. And as I understand, this charging curve is fairly flat. So we'll slowly drop down, but not by much. And I'll provide you all the stats as usual after the charging stop on my spreadsheet, which I'll display on the screen here in a minute. We're gonna go get some snacks and wander around, stretch our legs, and I'll give you an update here pretty shortly. All right, we're back on the road. We charged so fast, I'm not used to it. I didn't have a lot of time to film a video. Plus, towards the end, some gentlemen in an ID4 needed some help in attaching their charger plug to the faster charger that I was using at the time. So after I helped them, it was already full at 79%. We had dropped to 95 kilowatts, and that's close enough to 80 for me. So we just took off after that. And now we're getting back on 65 South, leaving Indianapolis. Our next stop will probably be in Kentucky, unless I really want to get the Taco Bell right before we cross the state line at the Taco Bell I like. More updates to come. Here's the charging stats for this last trip, this last visit rather, and you can see we went from about 20% to 79%. Very fast charging. We hit 205 kilowatts for a while, and you can see the average charging speed on here as well. Pretty good for our first stop, very successful. And while the charging stop was not very busy when we got there, it became pretty busy by the time we left, so good timing on our part. All right, next stop, Kentucky, I'd say, and we'll keep you informed along the way. We stopped pretty quickly after the last stop, not because we had to for charging, but the Taco Bell I really like. The Taco Bell that has Big Red soda is right over here. We're in Clarksville, Indiana, right before we get to Kentucky, and I knew I wanted to stop here. So even though we still had 40%, 42% left in the battery, I wanted to stop here anyway. Also, we couldn't quite make it all the way to the next stop that we wanted to, either the Corvette Museum or the Buc-ee's. So the Taco Bell thing combined with not being able to make it to an ideal location meant we just decided to stop now. We could have stopped in between here and, you know, Bowling Green, just at some random stop, but we have our favorite stops along the way on this route, so we wanted to make sure we hit those instead. So I got my Big Red soda. Here's our dog. This is Judy the dog. Hey Judy. I got my Big Red soda, which is kind of like a cream soda. And then I wanted to try the new sliders as well, the Taco Bell sliders, which are like, I don't know, they're like hexagon shaped wraps. Haven't tried those yet. And anyway, that's why I wanted to prioritize stopping at Taco Bell. So we pulled in, like I said, at 42%. We are done charging, essentially. The kids and the wife, they're at Walmart, probably going to the bathroom or something. So we're going to be dropping off here in speed pretty quick. If you can't see, we're at 133 kilowatts and we're at 80%. So we should just leave now, but I think they're still doing stuff, so we won't be leaving anytime soon. And we'll overcharge here, and then we'll make it to either the Corvette Museum, which is, like I said, one of my favorite stops, or perhaps we'll make it a little further to like Buc-ee's in, I believe the town is Smiths Grove, Kentucky. But that's the update for now. As usual, I'll update you with the stats once we're done charging. Normally I'd leave right now at 80%, but we're still charging, so we'll wait there a little bit while the kids are taking care of whatever they're doing inside the store, and then we'll be on our way. We're down to 4 kilowatts, so the kids just got here in time for us to head out of here, but 4 kilowatts, that's crazy now that we're above 80%. Let's see, here's some stats. We got 16 minutes of charging time, ended at 80%. Says it's free. I don't know why it's free, but we'll take it. It was kind of weird signing in here, so I don't know if that has something to do with it, but we got a free charge out of this one. Crazy. And we're leaving at 80%, and we'll be on our way after getting our it says 0 energy delivered. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Maybe it'll show up in my wife's app, but all right, well, let's unplug, leave this 350, actually 150 charger for someone else, and we'll be on our way. Here's the stats for this stop. Now I'm going to enjoy my Big Red and my Taco Bell. Next stop, we're at, let's see, 23%, and we're pleased to see this Flying J GM Energy EV Go has covered charging. So I'm going to pull around to the passenger side and park in the shade because it's pretty sunny and it's almost 70 degrees, which is great. Let's check this one out. Tap to start. Plug-in connector. And I'll point out this is a 350 kilowatt charger. Or at least it's branded that way. I'm gonna get my phone to use my phone to authenticate it. That way I have the record in my phone history and I can see real time as I'm walking around the store or whatever how the charge is doing. All right, let's see how this goes. EV Go. This is charger 2. Before I left home a couple days ago, I re-updated all of my charging apps and I also made sure all my logins were working right. This sounds it. It looks like A side. Which is the A side? Doesn't say. Left side, I guess. Start charging only. Start charging. 52 cents, which is pretty cheap for EV Go. The last EV Go we saw along the way was 69 cents a kilowatt hour, and I was like, no, we will stop at Taco Bell. I didn't mention that at the last stop, but the other reason we didn't stop later and why we stopped at Taco Bell Walmart is because it was 69 cents if we kept going to the EVgo, so that's way too expensive. This one's good though. I heard a click, matching voltage. Oh, I love that there's a roof over this. All right, 23% arrival. And let's see what kind of speeds we get. It's right here if you haven't seen yet. This is nice for new EV owners. Most vehicles slow down after 80% stated charge. Like FAQ here on the phone app. What do the charging values mean? This is great. Very informational. While we're waiting for the ramp up, let's check it out. We've got the Flying J, which looks nice. Denny's truck stop. It's like someone's sleeping over there overnight or taking a little nap or a required break. We're right off the highway. We're on the east side of the highway, so we had to drive under the overpass, but not too bad. And we got a Mach-E here. And I mentioned the roof. Let me make sure you saw that. Imagine it was raining, or like today it's sunny, but sunny and hot. How nice is it to be able to park in the shade here while you're charging? Rearranging your belongings, checking the trunk for stuff, taking care of kids and dogs. How often would that be? How awesome would that be? So I'm glad they put the roof on there. And we're at 196. This car's max, if I didn't mention before, is about 210. At the first charging stop, just south of Indianapolis, we hit 205 kilowatts, which is fine. Max is 210, I'll take 205 all day long. And now we're at 197, which is also fine. No complaints there. And I guess we'll just go inside and look around, and I'll update you guys when we're done charging. One other thing worth mentioning is there is a grassy area over there and way down there and over there for dogs and people that want to explore. I would be a little careful though, who knows what's back there, but for a dog to pee, it's good enough. There's also this grassy area here, but it would probably smell pretty bad if enough dogs peed there, so that area would work perfect instead. We're at 79%, we're dropping down to 102. All right, 79%. Next stop, Buc-ee's in Athens, Alabama. Pulling into our favorite Puckett's charging stop combo that we stopped at last year, and we're hoping there's a charger open for us. There are 2 chargers.
Oh yeah.
I think we're good. There was one car consistently here the whole drive down, so I was worried someone would take the second, but looks like we have our choice of either charger. So we're gonna park here. We're at only 7%, the lowest we've taken this car ever. And we're gonna plug in at 120 kilowatt max at this charger and then walk over to Puckett's Restaurant, which is a Tennessee chain even though we're in Alabama. So I'll update you, of course, after we charge up and eat, but this will be a relatively slow charge, 120 kilowatts, and then we'll eat our dinner and have plenty of time left over to get going. All right, here we are. I've got the ChargePoint app pulled up. It says open up the app. Coleman Electric 1L. Top of the screen. Yes. ChargePoint, you use the app first and then it unlocks the plug for you. And then hopefully you plug in your car. Still authorizing. Not a huge deal. Uh-oh. All right, plug in. That's what it says on the screen. So I guess that's our green light. Oh, the weather's so nice down here. And the charging cords are soft and easy to manipulate. It's waiting for our car. Good to go. Like you see up here, 125 kilowatt max, but that really doesn't matter. We're still gonna charge faster than we need to since we're going over there to Puckett's to eat dinner. Oh, this is just a beautiful thing. A desirable restaurant next to your charger. All right, we enjoyed our dinner so much, we ended up charging up to 100%. Here's the stats right here. And we're on our way deeper into Alabama, ever closer to the Gulf of Mexico, leaving at 100%. All right, we got back on the road after our dinner at Puckett's for about 2 hours. And we ended up in Prattville, Alabama, which coincidentally is where we landed on our last journey to the Gulf of Mexico in my Ford Lightning. You can see that video in the description below. I'll leave a link. And across the street from the Prattville Hotel is a Ford dealership, which PlugShare tells me has a charger. So I'm gonna go check that out. And even though we're at 55% right now, wouldn't it be nice to wake up and the car already be at 80 or something? So I'm gonna do a quick charge as the kids are getting ready for bed. And I'll juice up the car. We'll be ready in the morning for a quick departure. Man, this is a nice setup. Wow, really underrated. Access from both directions and really easy to get to. So let's see if I can get this Red E charger started. All right, I used the Red E app. Ooh, 572 volts. This is a 320 kilowatt charger according to the Red E website and PlugShare. So we should get quite a bit of decent power out of this. And what's going on over here? Somebody knocked their sign over. Let's see, EV parking only. That's good to have. Let me back up and let you guys take a look at this rather fantastic charging setup. During the day, having worked at several dealerships, I could see this setup kind of being blocked in. You know, we got the service techs or the detail guys might end up parking a car there for some period of time, and someone pulling up the charge might not be able to. Obviously not the case right now, which is fine. But other than that, it's a really good setup. You can pull in from either direction. Even if you have a trailer, you could drive your trailer in to either side from either direction, even with a trailer. You know, other car traffic blocking aside, that is a pretty sweet setup. Not to mention, it's just a beautiful dealership. I'm gonna wander around while I'm here and see what interesting Fords there might be, so stay with me for that too. What do we have here? Some level 2 chargers. Out of curiosity, these look like they might be free. there is a NFC connection here that maybe I'm supposed to use and wouldn't be able to, of course, because I don't work at the dealership, so maybe they're not free and available. Let's see what else we got here. New Ford Maverick. I love these. These transit vans caught my eye down here as well. I don't know what they do, what they service, but they look like British rally team service vans to me. Imagine like a Rothman's Escort in like the 80s or something. And I don't know, the blue paint scheme and van shape just made it look like a English transit van to me from back in the day. Pretty cool vans. Now this one's got a block heater. It's not electric, but it does have a block heater for some reason. And none of these look electric except for that white one we saw. These all look like gas. Oh, they got a fleet and truck center. Wow, this is a huge dealership. Look at this big guy. Ford Mobile Service. Okay, so these are if your fleet truck has problems, or even maybe just your regular private vehicle, call them up and Long Lewis Ford will come fix it at your job site, at your business, at your home. That's pretty cool. Never thought I'd say this, but the EV9 is a pretty good looking car. It almost looks cool. Almost. It looks pretty sweet with all the weight in the back from our stuff for the trip. It's kind of low in the back and looks a little sleeker, but I like how long and low it is. Of course, the downside is it wouldn't go off-road at all, but that's okay. Ooh, I spot another charger. Let's check it out. These look like some old chargers. It says AV on them. It says rental car parking only. Maybe they give these out to customers as loaners. It's in use. The Mach-E's charging on it. Everything seems in order, and we got a charger for this, I guess, electric golf cart, so that's cool. Let's see what's around front. There's a lifelong GM fan that happens to own his first Ford right now. This Ford dealership is pretty sweet. They spent some money on renovating this place. Ooh, the new Mustang. That looks like the same color as my truck, rapid red. Alright, I'll stop walking around boring you guys. I'll let you know when we're done charging at Red E, and we'll be on our way back to the hotel shortly. Which, by the way, the hotel is right there behind that gas station. La Quinta Inn. No dog fee as of today. But I bet that's going to change soon, the front desk clerk said. Whoops, I got so distracted here. We are over 80% again, so time to shut this down. Hey, it's still at 101 kilowatts, above 80%. That's pretty decent. Maybe because the battery started at such a high percentage, at a high percentage that maybe it didn't have time to heat soak and still is remaining somewhat cool. Oh, look at that. As soon as I talk about it, it's dropping to 30. So time to shut it off. We've got the stats right here, and we'll be on our way. Gonna go back across the street, stop at the hotel, get some sleep, and finish up the drive tomorrow with a little bit of fun along the way. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the morning. One more update for the night. After coming back from the dealership, I noticed there's lots of random outlets and empty spots along the back of the hotel. So I was a little cheeky and I plugged in the hotel into the hotel outlet for the night with my Ford 1 kilowatt mobile connector, something you just connect into 110 outlets with. This is what I use to charge the Lightning at home. And I don't know, I'm at 83% when I left the dealership. I'll probably get another, I don't know, 10% or something overnight. But it'll be satisfying to start the day with 10 more percent, I'd say. So good night to Ron, the EV9, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Have a good sleep. Okay, we went from 83 to 90% last night. We're leaving the hotel now, and the next stop will be Mobile, Alabama for another charge before we get to the island. One more shot of Long Lewis Ford where I charged last night. Like I said last night, it's a pretty nice dealership, so stop by there for some Red E charging next time you're in the area. All right, we plugged in here. We're back at another Walmart for Electrify America charging, which has been 100% reliable the whole way down, I should point out. Car and charging have been 100% reliable. So my fears of taking a car that's not Tesla capable were unfounded fears. We did just fine. We had some trouble finding the right combination of side and plug and empty space available. That spot was taken when we got here, and this spot was taken when we got here. Going forwards in, going backwards in did not work, so we parked sideways, kind of like this Mach-E over here. But we were able to make it work eventually, and we should be right about 80 by now. We were chugging away while we were in the Walmart. Yeah, almost at 80, but it's close enough. I think we can just head out now. We're at 83 kilowatts, so I don't want to wait around much longer. And we're off to lunch at the Ruby Slipper in Mobile, Alabama, and then off to Dauphin Island. Here we go. Here we go. Video and picture just in case.
Well, as you can see, we've arrived on Dauphin Island. It was a beautiful drive as always, crossing over the huge bridge, looking at all the marine birds and the views of the ocean and all the ships and boats. We love coming down here, and you can probably see why here, even though today's kind of cloudy. We also saw the SS United States earlier. That ship has an amazing history. You should look into that on your own and read about what this ship has gone through over the decades. It is going to become an artificial reef in the Gulf of Mexico, which is kind of sad that they're going to purposely sink it for that. But in a way, I'd rather that than it being cut up for scrap and recycled into some refrigerators or something like that. I really like that it's going to live on intact, and the public, if you can dive, the public can enjoy it and see it, and it'll still remain a ship, if you will. So anyways, we're going to enjoy the beach here for the next week or so. And I'm going to let you know how the charging went at the house, just regular 110 volt charging at the rental house. And here's the stats for that. And then we're going to pick up where we left off probably in a week. And I'll let you guys know what our plan is for heading back north to Chicago after that.
I've only been here 20 minutes, and a neighbor looks like he got his CRV stuck, so we're going to try and get him out. Hopefully just human power will be enough.
Well, as vacations do, the week flew by and we were on the road in no time. We did charge up to, I think, 90% before we left, and we got a good head start on our trip back north at that time. Rather than take our normal route home through I-65, we decided to mix it up a little bit and head north through the Natchez Trace Parkway, which I found on the National Parks website. The Natchez Trace is a historic trail used from 10,000 years ago, and the parkway is a way for us to enjoy it and see the historic sites without having to actually walk the whole thing. We can stay in our car and stop along the way. Here's some of the locations we stopped at along the way. It's not a complete list by any means, but some of the highlights that we decided to stop at are here on the list. I would highly recommend you guys try this out for yourselves one day. I did require some research ahead of time to plan some of the charging stops along the way. Some of these locations are pretty rural, they're in the deep south. Some of the charger locations might not be as obvious as the Interstate 65 stops, but with a little bit of research, like an hour or so, we were able to plan a route and enjoy some of these historic and very scenic sites along the way. Especially scenic are the stops up north.
All right, we made it to Collins, Mississippi, and I'm here at Woolwine Ford, and I'm going to charge on the Blue Oval network. We're pulling in at 37%, and coincidentally, it's another Ford dealership. Maybe not such a coincidence. Ford's been really good about building out their EV and charging infrastructure, even at their own dealerships. So I'm going to pull in here and get a charge on. We could almost have made it, I think, to Jackson. Maybe we could have made it to Jackson, Mississippi. But out of an abundance of caution, and because the kids wanted to stop anyway, and it's time to stop anyway for bathroom breaks, why not charge while we're at it? Let's see what we're in for here. No idea what network this is on. Touch here to start, okay. All right, so it says I gotta download the Zola app. Zova Charging, install. All right, good thing I have 5Gs here. If not, I suppose I could go into the dealership and get free Wi-Fi from them. I'm gonna use as a guest. I don't think I'll be using this again. Use as guest. Your guest cannot be created, all right. All right, I created a, sorry, it's hard to see. I created an account. Here I am at Woolwine Ford. Scan. Huh. All right, so I downloaded the Zova app. There are instructions on this one. I didn't see instructions on the other one. Once I download the Zova app, it of course asked me to add my credit card information, which I did, and asked me to plug in, which I did. As soon as I plugged it in, I heard a thunk. And let's see if it's flashing like it's charging. Not yet. Okay, looks like it started, so that one was on me. I did the wrong connector, but it appears to be charging now. At least starting to. I don't see the light on the Kia yet, but oh, it says it's initializing, okay. Let me pull in here at 37% like I said. Let's see if it shows up with anything here. I'll be happy it's going. Alright, it's going. Something's happening. I don't know what speed we're getting, but here's more details. Good voltage. Amperage is ramping up. Strangely, it doesn't say the kilowatts, but you can calculate that. Alright, I guess we're going okay. Here's the vehicle demand. This is cool. It displays the vehicle demand. I'm trying to see. Vehicle demand is ramping up, and then the current is matching it. The current provided by the machine is matching it. That's cool. I like that it displays that, but alright, we're going. Good enough. Out of curiosity, just seeing if the Kia is displaying it. Yep, it's flashing now, so. Okay, it took a while, so my advice here, download the app ahead of time, which I always advise. But for now, I'm gonna crack the windows for the dog, hang out here, go to the bathroom, and I'll update you when the charging's over. All right, we're at 80%, which is my cue to leave. Let's see, more details. It's less details, actually. All right, we added 47.4 kilowatt hours in 19 minutes. Started at 37% and ended at 80, so we're gonna stop charging. I'm gonna unplug. See if it lets me. Ugh. Come on, you. Oh, there it goes. All right. Great. Well, fantastic stop from Woolwine Ford, and we'll be on our way. Next stop, Cypress Swamp along the Natchez Parkway. All right, you join us at the charging station somewhat, I mean, it's basically on the Natchez Parkway. It's in Matheson, Mississippi. As you can see, it's at a Shell station and it's administered by ChargePoint. Super, super easy to charge here. As with every ChargePoint I've ever come across, I just opened up the ChargePoint app on my phone, tapped my phone against here, and instantly it said unplug and plug into your car. And after I plugged into my car, maybe, I don't know, 25 seconds later, something like that, it started charging. It's hot here, it's 83 degrees. We haven't seen 83 degrees in about 6 months. You can hear the fans blowing, trying to keep the car cool. Killed a lot of bugs with our blunt snub-nose Kia. And after arriving at 25%, so far we're at 38%. We've hit a peak of about 200 kilowatts. So we'll stick here till about 80% as usual. It's really easy to make that decision with a Kia. It's gonna hit 80% and then taper off very quickly after that. So 80 is the number. And at that point, we'll continue on the Natchez Trail, headed towards Tupelo, Mississippi. And of course, I'll update you with the stats on this charging stop so you can get an idea for what our efficiency is, what the costs have been, and how fast we've been charging and so on. So more updates coming up. All right, here's the stats. We stopped at 77%, $24.13. And let's see, it was a really fast charging session. We almost got to 80, we stopped at 77, but it started slowing down, so we just gave up and said that's good enough. We've got plenty of options actually to charge further down the road. So my assistant here is gonna put it back in the charging plug. It's heavy, but he can manage it, I'm sure. We're gonna continue on to, I guess next is Tupelo, Mississippi, which I believe is that the hometown of Elvis Presley? Before we made it to Tupelo, we had to stop for an essential ice cream stop. Right here, we're on a corner where we've got a Piggly Wiggly grocery store, hardware store, the Matheson, Mississippi post office, and most importantly, Melt's ice cream. I bet it's gonna be good. Well, we stopped just north of Tupelo, Mississippi, which I confirmed is the birthplace of Elvis Presley, at this portion of the Old Trace. So along the parkway, the modern road part that follows the trail, are portions of what they call the Old Trace, the old historic part of the trail that still has some remnants of it here and there. So luckily you can see what the old portions were like by following the signage and following the trails, and we're going to do that now by walking up this paved path and find not only a portion of the Old Trace, the old trail, but also 13 grave sites of unknown Confederate war soldiers. So we came up this way, and as you can see, here's a portion of the old trail. Remember, this trail goes back 10,000 years. Native Americans used it, people used it in the 1700s during the early settler days, and then during the Civil War. So it's got a lot of history. Part of that history is the Confederate war history with 13 unknown soldiers buried here. There may have been names on the gravestones at some point, I read, but they were stolen, the gravestones, and they were replaced with anonymized ones. And in case you're wondering about the money, I had to look it up because my son asked. It's just a sign to show tribute to the fallen, but also, of course, as a sign to loved ones and family members that have descended from these soldiers that their graves were visited and respected and recognized. So nice to see that. One other note, the trails here, the gravestones were purposely facing the trail kind of backwards. You know, the deceased are usually buried like that, but the signage is facing this way to the trail, so those passing by on the trail could read the signage, both with the earlier gravestones and now. In case you're wondering, there is a little bit of information here on the sign. Not much, but enough that you could probably do some Google searching and figure out more. For example, whether they died in the Shiloh battle, were they defending the Tupelo armory, something along those lines. Look at that EV9 down there, what a beauty. It's been doing great. All right, another charging stop at another Ford dealership. We've been on a streak lately. We pulled into Muscle Shoals at 30% and another Long Lewis Ford. You remember that from the trip down here? A different Long Lewis Ford has fast charging for us on the Red E network. So that was super convenient. We're gonna stop here for, I don't know, 15 minutes while our pizza is being made down the road, pick up the pizza, and then have a relaxing swimming and eating evening at the hotel, which is not far away either. So pretty good trip. We averaged 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. That was the air conditioning on, and at medium speeds, I'd say 60 miles an hour, something like that, on the Natchez Trace Parkway. So that kept the speeds lower, but it also, you know, with the air conditioning, I think that was a pretty reasonable, pretty impressive miles per kilowatt hour at 3.0. So I'll update you with the charging stats when we're done, but so far so good this evening here in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. All right, we got impatient, just said, let's just leave. We've got plenty of charge to get to Nashville. So we got 75% charge out of this. That's 49.6 kilowatt hours. And my assistant here will put it back in the big green receptacle.
That was obvious, isn't it?
It was a little obvious, but that's okay, buddy. Now you can close the door with the button and we'll be on our way. All right, pizza, Bojangles, pool at the hotel. It's gonna be a good night. We'll let you know how things went in the morning, and we'll be headed back to the Natchez Parkway at that time. Have a good night. All right, it's the next morning. I did not overnight charge at all at the hotel. I was hoping to get a 110 outlet charge at the hotel, but I couldn't find any in the parking lot, so I gave up on that. And after running some errands and picking up dinner and stuff last night, we were at 72% in the morning. So just because we were literally driving right by this dealership again, I'm gonna go from 72% back up to 80%, and I'll rest a little easier knowing that we have a normally 80% battery like we're used to. We should still have plenty of charge to get to Clarksville, Tennessee. There's an Electrify America Walmart station there, but the Google Maps is showing 165 or so miles, and the car is showing 233 miles. So I know I'm being excessively conservative, but why not, since we're driving right by the charger, have a little bit extra juice, and I can just rest easy in case we get distracted and go off. In case we go off the course a little bit, we should be have plenty of juice to get there with a little extra room for uncertainty. I already know our first stop is going to be a Rock Creek kind of hike, and then after that we'll be headed to a couple of rock falls today, like a couple of waterfalls, and a portion of the old Natchez Trace Trail, part of the original trail, before scooting back home to Chicagoland. All right, I'll keep you guys updated as we get along. I just missed it, but we're up to 80%. Then we got 9.6 kilowatt hours, so we're on our way now, and no charging until we're done with the trail. All right, what you just saw is the Tennessee River, and now we're at Rock Spring, another one of the stops that we chose along the Natchez Trail. It's got a pretty cool photo on the National Park's website of a little creek crossing with some stones. And happened to see this as well. Didn't even know this was here, but General John Coffee. So we're gonna do a little trail hiking, just very short, and then we'll continue on after that. Next up was an impromptu one we didn't plan on at the phosphate mine. 5-minute walk means we can get to a collapsed mine shaft and see some other cool stuff. So here we go.
Blue phosphate's probably why the rivers are blue. Over 1,000 miles of track have been abandoned in Tennessee.
It's really cold.
Well, I bet you. Like,
oh my.
It goes down on the side, it probably goes pretty deep. All the signs talk about tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Uncle Stanley would know. And another unexpected stop after the phosphate mine, some waterfalls. I haven't seen a name of the waterfalls yet, but the road sign just said falls or waterfalls half a mile. So we stopped. And so far this one's worth a stop too. I gotta say the Natchez Trace Trail has a lot of cool stuff that you wouldn't expect. And you could probably spend a whole week doing this trail, stopping at every location and hiking and camping and eating lunch and stuff. Sweet Harley. And we're discovering them as we go along, that some of the things that aren't on the list of Natchez Trace highlights are actually really good. This looks like another good one. This is about, I want to say, maybe like 80 miles south of Nashville, for a rough reference. Oh, that Harley is burning some oil. Smelly. Anyways, let's check this one out. I'll show you what it looks like. I love how it's a slab of rock that the water is not only flowing over, but carved into. That is so cool. Another observation, it seems to me that the northern part of the Natchez Trace is a little more scenic. I like this rock and, you know, ledges and waterfalls and things like that a little better than some of the more just soft dirt and clay and sand you find at the bottom half of the Natchez Trail. There's plenty to see on the whole trail, don't get me wrong, but so far I think the northern part of the trace, just maybe like near Muscle Shoals and northward, is a little more interesting to me than the southern part, but I'm enjoying the whole thing. I'm surprised this one's not on the highlight list. Yeah, I wish this was our property. What's up?
Are we going to the college in Tennessee?
I wasn't planning on it, but we can.
No,
We absolutely can.
Yeah.
You want to go to Vanderbilt?
I'm fine.
It's a beautiful campus. Another waterfall, a little further down from the first one we saw. And a nice pool of water to swim in. Man, imagine swimming in that on a hot 90-degree day here in Tennessee. Awesome. How beautiful is this? I was hoping it was a Cummins, but it wasn't. All right, this is Fall Hollow. It's not unexpected. This is on my list, in the list of highlights, but my Google Maps point was off, so I'm glad we stopped here because this is one of the highlights of the trail that we wanted to do. Avion camper, I love these. Now that's a rig. Ah, oh, what a rig. Listen to that engine too. Just a little further north from the Falls Hollow is this old barn. We were just gonna drive by it and then hop on the dirt trail where you can drive your car, but we were intrigued to see that tobacco might be hanging inside, and I don't think kids have ever seen that, so it's never too early to introduce kids to tobacco, right? Just kidding, but it would be cool to see it drying, so hopefully that's the case here. As someone who lived in North Carolina for a number of years, very educational.
What do you think? I'm assuming some sort of hornet nest or something.
Uh-oh.
Wait, aren't those crazy?
Oh wow, they make like a mud home. Could be
Bet they're not
chiggers.
very dry right now.
They're probably still dry. All right, what might be our last stop, Jackson Falls, at the north end of the Natchez Trail, Natchez Trace Trail, and it's at mile marker 404.
Big.
That is a big one.
Here's one here. How cool.
What are they known for?
Being snails.
Oh wow. All right, well, kind of a good news, bad news story. Found a great charger in Clarksville, the one we were headed to. Started out charging at 166 kilowatts, and I was like, okay, good enough. It's kind of slow, but whatever. Try to go to Cookout to get some lunch, and I get a message on my phone saying charging has stopped. No idea why. Look at this, this is offline now. Fantastic. So now I gotta move it and start all over again. Don't know what's going on. Did our car just brick the charger? Maybe, but I doubt it. Who knows? Luckily, I should be able to get another one. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, I moved down 2 stalls, and now I'm at the other 350 high-speed charger, which, by the way, when I got here, of course, there was a Bolt charging here at 50 kilowatts. Thanks, Bolt owner. Now we've got this to deal with, so I'm gonna hold my phone up against here. For the last week or so, my EA app on the phone has not been responsive, and it says that I have no internet connection when I'm obviously in places that I do have an internet connection. So, holding up my phone to here, hoping the app would engage it, did not work, of course, so I held up my phone here and did my Google Wallet instead, just paid with a regular credit card. And I signed up for text alerts, as you said, so I'm gonna hope to get an alert if it fails again, which it very well could. So I'm gonna go back all the way past that sign, almost to the billboard over there, to cook out again and try one more time and see if it'll work this time. Wish me luck. All right, this time it worked. I got my cookout and I got a good charge. Wow, 88%. What's its speed? Wow, it's still 53. Nice big charge, unintentional, but that worked out okay. So I'm gonna stop, take my photo, because this was not on the app, and we'll be headed out. And one more time. I think I already got that, but okay. Next stop will probably be in Illinois. We might stop in Kentucky, but I don't think we'll need to, especially with this 88%. We'll see what the headwinds are like and traffic and rain conditions and stuff, but I'm hoping to get at least to Effingham, Illinois next. We'll see. All right, we didn't quite make it to Effingham. We're in Mount Vernon, Illinois, at another Walmart. Electrify America's okay. There's no one here, so that's great. And we're able to start our charge at 19%. Speed is slowly increasing. I did precondition. It was slightly cold, the battery, before we pulled in, so we're preconditioned that we should get maximum speed on this. But I do have to head inside to use the bathroom, so we might have to wait a minute on getting the speed. But we'll see when we get back where we're at, and it should be at maximum speed for quite a while yet. All right, here we go inside for a bit. All right, curiosity got the better of me, and I wanted to stay and see what speeds we got. So we hit a maximum of 196 kilowatts so far, which is fantastic. Totally satisfied with that, and we should not be here too long. I was hoping to make it home from here in Mount Vernon, Illinois, back to Chicagoland on one charge, on this charge, but I don't think we're gonna make it. It's about 275 miles. EPA is 270, but we'll beat EPA, but even at 300, we're like right on the edge of 275, 300, so I don't think we're gonna make it. We'll do one more quick charge somewhere, probably at another Electrify America station. In fact, I've actually got a great Electrify America station, one of my favorite spots, at a Meijer in Bradley, Illinois. We'll probably go there, is my guess. And it shouldn't take long, like literally 5 minutes with this car. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll get lucky with drafting and back and tailwind or something like that, but most likely we'll be stopping one more time. All right, we'll update you how this charge goes. We'll go at least to 80, and at that point, we'll be moving on. Coming out of the Walmart, check out this Rivian from Colorado with one of those inflatable toppers. That is cool. I'm a little nervous to buy an inflatable one, but man, it looks cool on a Rivian. Sweet. All right, let's see how we're doing. All right, we're above 80. We're still at 56 kilowatts. I don't think we'll have enough to get home, but that's good enough. We're gonna unplug and get out of here. All right, time to put an end to this. 70. Here we go. Okay, off we go. Probably just one more stop. It'd be nice if it was 0 more stops, but I think it's gonna be one more, unfortunately. All right, one more stop here at the Meijer in, what town is this? I'll put it on the screen here later. I don't remember what town this is. Oh, Champaign, Illinois. I've been here before, actually, in my Lightning. I think when I bought my topper. But anyway, we pulled in at 25%. We only need to get to about 50. The wife would like it if we got to about 68, just for an extra buffer. So we'll pull out somewhere between 50 and 68%. It should go pretty fast. I preheated the battery again This car is filthy. All the rain we drove through, it's hard to tell on camera, but it's really dirty, but I like that. So we're gonna charge here. We will be on our way shortly, and when we get home, you'll be able to see all the charging stats for the whole trip, all my usual summary statistics, total cost for the trip, average charging speed, average consumption, things like that. And I'll put that on the screen later. But for now, we're here at Meyer, and I'll update you again when we leave from the Champaign Electrify America station. But thanks for watching this far, and we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. All right, I bet we're overcharged. Yep, 73%. Jessie got her wish for extra battery charging. Stop the charge. We're at 170, just for the record. Get a picture, get this picture, and away we go. Ooh, it's a little toasty, this handle, but nothing crazy. Thank you again for Electrify America for a lovely charging experience. I think I'd say Electrify America was, I don't know, 6 for 7, 8 for 9, something like that on this trip. The only one that was bad was Clarksville.
Well, that was the end of the trip. We made it back to Chicago successfully, of course. We had a fantastic trip. The CCS charging was not at all a problem. The reliability of the CCS network, both Electrify America, EVgo, and ChargePoint, were all super reliable. Red E as well. The Exova one was okay. Once I got it working, it was fine. And my fears of having major problems or major wait times at charging stations on this trip were unfounded. I did not have any problems whatsoever that would, prevent me from doing this trip again tomorrow. Fantastic trip. Did not have to use Tesla charging at all. It turns out during the course of this trip, this car got kind of stealth Tesla charging capability. They released it officially to Hyundais, and since Kia and Hyundais are so similar, there is a way you can get Tesla charging on this vehicle with the adapter, which I happened to bring actually just in case. Ended up not needing Tesla charging at all. Don't regret it. It's slow anyway for these cars, and I had a fantastic trip just using CCS charging the whole way. Here's the stats for the entire trip. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or want more information on this trip, let me know. Stay subscribed to the Mind of Matter YouTube channel, and we'll have more videos coming up very soon.